guys, that's as far as we got today. I got the frame rails made. All I used was a piece of flat bar to try to keep the frame rails as straight as I could. I cut everything at the same angles, but you know, then I cut everything at the same angles, but you know, as with an abrasive chop saw blade, you have the problem of the blade wandering. I do want to get an Evolution style chop saw at some point, but you know, if y'all hadn't priced those things, they're proud of them. So we do need one, and you know, I think it's well worth the money because you know, anything that can make your fabrication better makes you better, makes your project easier, you know, is worth the money. Like I said, what I've decided to do is kick the frame up in the front 7 inches, and that's the top of the frame will go up 7 inches from the top of the original frame. And you can see that I have a 2x3 on top of a 2x2 and a 2x3 laid on its side, which is 4 inches, which puts the top of the frame at 7 inches. And I had to put just a shim on there to get it at the right angle. Also, let's see, to find that length of the kickback, I used a right angle calculator. I knew that I was going to increase the length, the width of the chassis, which is 6 inches plus 7 inches, which was 13. So if you figure I was going to run it at 45 degrees, if you know the length of 2 sides of a right triangle, you can find the length of the third side, and it was like 18.3 something, so I just put it like 18.5. Guys, my brain is shot. I can't do the millimeters today. We're going to come back and we'll have tomorrow in this video as well for the last day of Febudaily. I don't know how far I'll get. I've got to get the brake and clutch pedal assembly off of that cross member. It looks like a total nightmare. Of course, if I was on a lift, it probably wouldn't be as bad, and I'm probably going to brake bad and cut those running board brackets off before they stab me in the chest one more time. We'll get on this tomorrow. I think I'm going to cut it here for today. I've already had a grinder get away from me, and I'm kind of tired, so I probably need to put the power tools down. So a couple of things. When I was working up here, I realized, and I don't know if you can look because the frame's in the way now. I don't know if it'll show up on the video, but I noticed the chassis come out and it started coming back this way. And I leveled what I had made up with where it actually bends out right there. I don't know if you'll be able to see it on film or not. So, and then I was like, I was pulling it out. I was trying to get the chassis rail straight to measure the same front and back because I thought it just, you know, come out here and it come back in. And it actually does come back in closer at the front. But what I come to find out is that's about the shape of the chassis running underneath the cab. So from the back of the cab, it is right at 30 inches. And at the front of the cab, the chassis is 27.5. So it loses 2.5 inches in the span of the cab. So that's about right. I was thinking I was going to have to take and jog the frame rails in, but I'm kind of okay with that. Now, we're going to lop the frames off. They're not going to be this long. I don't know where they're going to be at right now. I think the grill is going to be approximately there. It's going to be a little higher than that. Actually, it's going to be, I want to get the peak of the grill where the peak of the truck is. We're going to decide that when we decide whether we're actually going to section the truck or we're going to channel the truck. I do not know. I don't think we're going to channel the truck. We can only channel it about 2 inches, and then the body will be on the ground. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to fix the doors, and I'm going to put a 2-inch rocker on it, and the rocker will hit the ground. I have mixed feelings about these trucks that don't have a rocker panel and the doors, you know, you see them slammed out and the doors almost hitting the ground. I like it, but I don't like it at the same time. So, you know, to each their own. If that's your style, by all means, go for it. So, yeah, I won't be able to figure out where the height of the grill is till I know if we section the truck. If we section the truck 4 inches, the grill's going to sit 4 inches lower. Of course, it's not going to sit lower than the chassis on the truck, or it'll hit the ground. I'm probably not going to section the truck. We're going to chop it 4 inches. I do know that. So if we section another 4 inches, that would be 8 inches out of the body. I've already got one car that's like got 12 inches out of it. And, you know, I just think this one's going to be chopped. So I'm going to raise the grill shell up to the level, maybe slightly down from the level of the cowl. And we're probably actually going to make a hood to go on this thing, just something to run from, you know, 1950 Ford to, you know, Model A grill shell. You know, just see what we can come up with, something that looks good. Because I know this truck's going to get driven. I'm not going to say that it's not. It's going to get driven in the rain. It's going to get driven, you know, it's going to be a beater. So I do want to keep the motor covered in case it's raining. The motor, I won't know exactly where the grill's going to go and where the front axle is going to go. I kind of did some measurements the other day. I want to make sure that the motor's far enough forward. You know, the Y block is the distributor's in the back of the motor, so you want to leave enough room to get to that distributor. On the 54, the distributor is a nightmare to get to where it's at. So I do want to make sure. Of course, with no fenders on this, it should be easy to get to, but I do want to leave probably an inch or two of clearance between the firewall and the distributor, just so, you know, if you need to get in there and work on it, you can. It's not a pain in the butt. I don't want this thing to be a total pain in the butt to work on. Let me stick the axle up there and we'll come back. Okay, guys, that's the approximate location. If we run the axle, like I said, I think the axle is probably going to be about maybe 6 inches further back than that. I need to determine where I'm going to locate the bags on this thing, how I'm going to, you know, bag the front suspension. The axle right now is set at about 6 degrees of caster angle. Caster angle is going to be the angle of the kingpin this way. So what we may end up having to do, if you see how far down the radius rods are, I don't mind it they're that low, but we need to go just a little more, and rod height may be a little lower than that. So we may have to split the bones at this end and re-weld them. So if we do, you know, it's just part of it. but we want to get about 6 degrees of caster. That's a little much on a manual steering, but all the hot rod guys say 6 to 7 degrees, I believe, is what they're saying. So, like I said, that's a good starting spot. Anyway, that's going to do it for Febudaily for this year. Guys, I had hoped to get farther on this part of the build, at least have this welded in. I am going to add some additional frame to this. The diagonal where it comes up, it's going to be, I want to make it the same width as the chassis here. So I want it 6 inches wide. So we're going to cut out a piece and run 6 inches here. And then I'm going to start right here, 3 inches down, and diagonal out to up here, just to give the chassis a little bit of thickness to it, so it doesn't look so thin. I think that box tubing ain't going nowhere, especially with the 165 horsepower that little Mercury Y block has got. So, but we are going to beef it up just a little bit, like I said, just to give it a good look. So I don't know if I said this before, but the reason why I decided to put the angle as far back as I did is so that the rocker kind of hides the Z. To me, it looks better there if we put it way out here. I mean, you could do that, but to me it looks better there. And now we can put our steering box back down in this location and have it coming up. So when I add 3 inches, we'll be able to build us a mount right in here for the steering box. So the steering box is going to have to be kind of low. In an ideal world, the pivot for the steering box, the pitman arm on the steering box, where the tie rod goes and where this tie rod is, should be at the same point. That would be in an ideal world to get the least amount of bump steer. So, like I said, that's it for this one. I'm going to try to be back on Sunday. Anyway, like and subscribe. I'll see y'all later.